Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello, everybody at home, and welcome to Houselights, specifically the House of Demme. Wait, no, that's not right. I think. What were we doing? We were doing.
I don't know.
Beloved?
We're looking at the floor plan here, and all of a sudden, where are we exactly?
If only
we
wrote this down. I guess we're just gonna have to pick something.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Oh, wait. Okay, wait. There's a door here. It says Usher, Kinka Usher. Okay, so we're entering the room of Usher, specifically Kinka Usher, because he directed Mystery Men in 1999, and that's the one and only film that he directed. Some of you are tuning in, might be thinking, hey, you promised us another Jonathan Demme film, specifically Beloved, with Oprah and Glover. And here's the thing, I'm just going to be straight up honest with you guys, 100% honest. None of us had ever seen that movie before, and I was about 15 minutes in. I was 15 minutes into this film. I started texting Darren and John and saying, who else is watching this? Darren said, me.
I was 30 minutes in at that point.
I said, I'm 15 minutes in. I have no idea what's going on. And you said, I'm 30 minutes in and I have no idea what's going on. And within those 15 minutes, what I saw was graphic violence against animals and an insanely explicit sexual assault. All within the first 15 minutes. And those two images will never leave my brain. They will never leave my brain. I had no idea they were coming. And they're so shocking and so revolting. I was like, and I looked at the time, and Darren, you texted us and said, holy crap, this movie's 2 hours and 50 minutes long?
Yeah.
Whose idea was this?
I was not ready to make that big of a drink of that cup.
I called the audible and I said, I can't do this. I don't want to do this to my mind and my body. And so let's find a director who has only done one film so that we can replace it, because we have a schedule. We actually have it scheduled out for the next couple of months. And so we didn't want to interrupt that. So we found one person who did one film, Kinka Usher, and he did Mystery Men in 1999. And I needed a palate cleanser. I needed something stupid. I needed something colorful. And I needed it to wash my brain of Beloved. And so this is why you have this episode.
You do one thing well, Tristan, and it's podcast.
And see, I've completely dodged watching Beloved. I'm very curious, but I will also say I'll take this opportunity to throw a playful little shout out and dig at a dear old friend by the name of Mike Schindler, because the idea of giving up on a movie simply because it sucks would have violated every code of podcasting I had with Mr. Mike. And I've watched so many terrible things that for podcasting that, like, when you guys sent through, you were like, and you said, oh, well, let's just not do this. My initial reaction was, we can do that. It's because there were so many times in the past where I just wanted to. And I was like, no, I guess I got to make it through. And
Whose line is it anyway? We can make it up as we go along.
I watched Groom Lake, directed by William Shatner, okay? I've seen pain. I've been at the end of the C-beams in the rain, bro. Okay? All these memories are gone like tears in the rain, all right?
What's hilarious is that, John, you and I will like have conversations about like which directors we can do. We're like, well, this project is in 91 and his project previously was in 89. And we said we were just going to do the 80s. What are we going to do? And Darren always reminds us, this is our show, guys. Like, we get to make the rule.
I mean, granted, framework is important. I mean, as a listener of other podcasts, when you establish a framework that you're going to roughly play in, it's comforting and you know what you're going to get each week. And that's totally fine. But yeah, we can totally do whatever we want. We've already changed the focus of the show from covering massive directors that have like decades of material to just a decade at a time, or sometimes we're following a character. And I love how, and that kind of needs to happen with podcasts. Good podcasts evolve as they go a little bit. Doesn't have to completely rework, but I think the best are going to be different by, I mean, guys, we're almost to episode 100. So we gotta polish this up.
I'm so glad that you said that, Darren, because I do herald this show as a good podcast, and if not, a great podcast. So let's keep it going, and everyone should go to thenerdparty.com/contact if you want to suggest a certain director or even a character that has been used by multiple directors. Let us know, and by going to thenerdparty.com/contact and selecting the show, filling out the form, it'll send us an email, or you can find us on Twitter at Join Nerd Party or on Instagram and Facebook at The Nerd Party. We are all over the place. And if you want to listen to all of our previous episodes, just go to thenerdparty.com or wherever you listen to podcasts by searching Houselights. All right, so let's just jump right into this 1999 Mystery Men starring a lot of people. I mean, we got Ben Stiller, Jeffrey Rush, Janine Garofalo,
William H. Macy. I love him in this film.
William H. Macy. And Macy's star is on the rise after Boogie Nights. Eddie Izzard is in this. Claire Forlani, who was something of people might not like the term or whatever, but like she was an up and comer in the 90s. Like she had done movies like Basquiat and stuff like that. So she was
Meet Joe Black.
Yeah, she was on the way up. Like even Lena Olin is in this, and of course a post-rehabilitated Paul Pee Wee Herman Rubens was in it. So it's like this is an all-star cast.
We also have Wes Studi and Greg Kinnear.
Yes,
that's right. Greg's in this.
Yep.
And Kel Mitchell from Kenan and Kel.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Invisible Boy.
Right. Yeah, I was.
He was Invisible Boy.
That's the thing, is that it didn't even click with me while I was watching it, because this is my first time seeing it. I was sitting there saying, I know this guy. I know this guy. I know this guy. There you go. Yes. Once you said it, I'm like, oh, right. Okay.
Right. Good burger. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Darren, when was your first time seeing this? Like,
oh, man.
What were you doing?
I probably saw this in theaters because this would have been like high school for me. And this is exactly the kind of like fun, silly movie my friends and I would have probably gone and seen. I probably saw this first in theaters. I always remember, like, it's a very quotable movie. There's a lot of funny lines, and I think that is especially important in a comedy like this. If you have a comedy and you can't quote a single thing from it, I'm sorry, that wasn't a comedy. That was just dramatic. So the fact that, I'm always quoting, like, I do one thing well, I shovel, it's just, it always makes me giggle. But yeah, I remember that. And remember, this is pre-Spider-Man. This is, I think post Blade, if I remember correctly. I think Blade was before this.
Yeah. And Schumacher had taken the Batman series into the mouth of madness by this point.
But that's the thing. I'm glad that you brought that up, because as you watch this is clearly standing on the shoulders of Joel Schumacher with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yes, 150%.
It's very stylized.
You could have even called this a spoof of Batman and Robin if you wanted to, with some of the angles that they chose, the production design, how Champion City looked, the neon, the costumes.
It felt like a mix between that and like Edward Scissorhands.
Definitely felt like a Burton interpretation.
Like when they're in that backyard and there's all the fake grass and the pool, and I'm like, this feels like that, that little suburb that is around his castle.
Now, let me ask this question, though, because I did not see Mystery Men. It actually got released on my birthday in 1999. But I can tell you what I went to see for another time in 1999 for my birthday, because I always go to a movie on my birthday. Oh, no, wait, no. August 6th, 99. This came out against Sixth Sense, didn't it?
Oh, damn,
I think that was the same year. I'm pretty sure that is the same release date, which would have explained why nobody went to go see this movie. But which I'm not saying is a dig. But okay, I completely agree. My entire impression while I was watching it was like, this is a Joel Schumacher movie. And I've even though I don't like Batman and Robin or Batman Forever, I respect that what Schumacher was trying to do. I get it. I understand what he was going for. It's just not my jam. I get it. But why is it that Batman and Robin comes out in what, 97 or 98? It was 98?
I think 97.
97? Okay, whatever. Batman and Robin comes out, and it's very much in the vein of this movie. This comes out and is much more warmly embraced by, comic book fans, nerds, whatever label you want to throw out there. Is it simply because this doesn't take a beloved icon and do the joke? Is that why this one gets a pass?
It's literally all Mystery Men. Like, we don't know any of these characters.
Yeah.
No, I understand, but like that's why. That's why is like if Joel Schumacher had made Batman and Robin, but it wasn't Batman and Robin, we all would have gone along and said, "Oh, what a delightful romp this was."
Absolutely. I mean, because Batman Forever and Batman and Robin is technically the same Batman as Batman 89 and Batman Returns. It's supposed to be the same character, that same continuity, if you will. Even though it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, same continuity. And it's a beloved, it's a beloved character. With Mystery Men, we have no idea who these people are. It's based off of a comic book that all started with the Flaming
Carrot.
The Flaming Carrot,
Mm-hmm.
and by Bob Burden, is that right?
Yep,
Who did it?
Bob Burden. Yes.
And but like this wasn't Batman. This wasn't Justice
It wasn't
League.
Trying to be either of those.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't trying to be. That's the thing, is that these were the lesser heroes. Like, these were the people you don't call, or the people you call after, Justice League and the Avengers and the X-Men, and don't return your calls. And I think that's why it works, because like right off the bat, they established that these aren't beloved heroes, that these aren't people in our
They're
iconography.
C-listers at best.
And at best. And they're attempting to be D-listers. And right off the bat, they established the tone from the first scene, like from the get-go.
Yeah.
And they also established Champion City is in its own world. They use their own money. They have their own cars. They have their own architecture. They have their own heroes. This is not America. This is not the world. This is nothing that we know. This is separate. And so it right off the bat, it allows itself to be insane, because it doesn't need to be grounded in reality or in any kind of comic continuity that we're aware of in the mainstream.
You're not like, how did they get in the desert? There's no desert near city, insert name here. It's like, no, it could totally be. It could be wherever they want it to be.
Yeah, like there's no desert on the outskirts of Gotham.
There could be, maybe.
With the old abandoned carnival.
So, hey, listen, there's sand dunes in Michigan. So, you never know.
True.
You never know.
I go to those every year. It's very nice.
It's a wonderful place.
So, John, what did you know about this movie before? This is your first time watching it.
Yes.
And we sprung it on you when we played an Audible and changed it. What did you know about this? Did you know who was in it? Did you know what it was about? Did you know it was going to be tongue in cheek? What did you know?
I knew pretty much everything about it. With the exception of like specifics of the plot. Like, I knew it was a gag. I knew the comic it was based on. I was a big Dark Horse Comics fan in the 90s. So they did a great job. They always did a great job of publishing these really offbeat things that really plugged into that sort of like Gen X hipster, postmodern deconstruction. Like, I mean, in essence, Mystery Men, I knew was going to be sort of a more jokey take on Watchmen, where it's, this is, what happens when you deconstruct the heroes and look at them as human instead of as, icons of myth.
I thought it would be like, what if Joel Schumacher directed The Boys?
That's an interesting take. That's a very interesting take. I think at times I would have preferred it if Joel Schumacher had directed The Boys. But I knew William H. Macy was in it, and it was always one of those ones where it was like, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. I know I'm quote unquote supposed to have seen this movie. It's just like the new Sandman series came out, and so obviously I'm like the Office nerd, and everybody's like, so what do you think of Sandman? I'm like, I actually didn't ever read it, so I am not watching the show either. I know everybody loved it, but just wasn't my thing. And Mystery Men sort of is in that category. But like, I'd read a couple of the issues of Flaming Carrot and stuff like that. So I knew what it was going to be going for. So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know that
I hadn't even read the comic, so you're a step ahead of me on that.
Well, I mean, so all right. So Darren, we know, this is my first viewing. We know that you've seen it in the past. Tristan, you've viewed this multiple times through the years.
Yeah, like this wasn't my favorite film or anything like that. I saw it I saw it with a bunch of friends. Like it was the middle of summer. We had nowhere to go, nothing to do. So we all went over to a friend's house and had one girl who was super, had a super crush on. And she said, she's like, oh my God, like, I love this movie. We should all watch it. I'm like, yes, let's do this. I haven't seen this before. I will love this, like that kind of moment. And she was describing all the moments that she loved. And I was barely watched it because I was just watching her. But, I caught some things and I thought it was funny. I thought it was ridiculous. I liked that they went for the tone. And then I think I don't think I ever owned it, but whenever it was on TV, I ended up watching it. Like if I would always like catch it like a quarter of the way through or halfway through, and I would just it would just kind of suck me in. Like when I needed something to just turn my brain off,
right?
I would just watch this.
I can tell you that's definitely the place it immediately went to with me. This is sort of like that background noise. I got to sit still, and my brain's actually thinking about 6 other things while I'm watching this.
You're packing for vacation and you just need some background noise. You don't need to pay attention, and you can just look up and be like, oh yeah, I know where we are. And then just keep going.
It's on TNT at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. Like either one.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it had trouble finding an audience at all. It did not do well. It made less than half of its money back. Not counting
33 out of 68.
Yeah. Well, 33 and a half if we're going to be technical, But yeah, so obviously nobody went to go see this movie, yet it's ensconced in
cult classic kind of.
Yeah, the cult classic thing.
This is crazy to me that no one went to go see it, because like I would have thought that they would have had a great opening and then just a torpedoed second week. Like that's what I'd really expected, because they put a lot of money behind the advertising for this. Like they had
I remember that there was stuff everywhere. Video. Yeah.
Oh yeah, MTV. There were ads on MTV like crazy for this. Like they were short of having McDonald's toys in promoting this. Like it's really surprising that they did, because like knowing the product that they had, you think they would have hedged their bets, but they put so much money behind advertising.
You know what it almost reminds me of is that this is not a 1-to-1, obviously, but it sort of has the air of Last Action Hero, where they marketed the hell out of this. They had all of this star power attached to it. They had a killer soundtrack, and it's almost like they got to a point where they said, we got it. We have to push it out. We have to get this out there. And because this is summer of 99, everybody wants to compete. This is the summer that Star Wars is coming out.
This is Matrix. This is Blair Witch Project. This is all this stuff.
Right. They even moved the release date because they were scared of Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. Which I think had legs more than people thought. So that could have hurt them as well. They're like, oh, we'll be the week after. And then Blair Witch became the sleeper hit.
Well, Blair Witch was a brilliant marketing tactic with that thing. I knew so many people who got sucked into it. And it's just, I almost wonder, and I know that you lose momentum and stuff like that. Should they have held on to this and released it, I don't know, November or December?
Like a Christmas release?
Yeah. Do you think that would have helped it?
Before Disney stole the holidays, I think, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
They should have held on
Christmas
to it.
time used to be the quieter time, right?
Right. Yeah, that's why Titanic went forever.
Like you have the quieter time. That's when like the crazy dramas would come out. Like the Oscar bait would come out in December, somewhere around in there. And so if you put in a date movie or, like a stupid gonna run out with your friends kind of movie, as opposed to something with a blind woman who, creates her first opera, this is counter programming.
Right, exactly right. Where it's the friends are on their college break, and they're seeing each other. You're going to see family. You're out Christmas shopping. You just hey, let's just go catch this real quick and just decompress, like hide from the world for a little bit.
Oh, this was the same week that the Thomas Crown Affair was released. I mean, different circles of people going, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, definitely different audiences.
That was a 50-year-old's date movie.
Yes. Yeah.
So, apparently this was rife with behind-the-scenes drama where apparently no one got along on the set. And the entire cast would bicker every day about what tone to achieve. Like, no one knew what tone this movie was supposed to strike. Whether it was supposed to be a comedic action film, a comedic superhero film, or a superhero film with some comedy in it. Like, no one could really strike the right chord. And Usher said on set, according to Hank Azaria, he said on set, "I'm not doing this ever again. I'm going back to commercials. I'm going back to ads."
And then he never did.
And that's the thing. And then he never. This was his first major motion picture. This was his first feature length film. He said, "I'm never doing this again." And so far, it's 2022, and he hasn't. And also, this is what Jeanine Garofalo had to say. She didn't like the movie. And she said, it was, quote, "It was very long hours and very little got accomplished. It was one of those alleged blockbusters that was over budgeted and overhyped. It went from being a great script when it was sent to me to being, in my opinion, a fairly mediocre non-event. But it was nice to get paid that much to sit around. I have no idea what they were trying to do with the film, but they sure didn't accomplish it."
Well, that was a brutal take on things. Obviously, nobody really wanted to be there.
So again, I know different circles, but oh man, the Thomas Crown Affair had a budget of $48 million, $20 million less than this movie.
Well, the thing is,
now granted, it had a lot of effects, like Mystery Men did.
Yeah.
That's probably what ate the budget.
The virtual backgrounds for 99, that was pretty, pretty cutting edge stuff.
Like when Greg Kinnear's head started morphing and warping and everything like that. That was surprisingly gruesome. I didn't expect that to be so gruesome. Speaking of Kinnear, also apparently Ben Stiller and Greg Kinnear hated each other and did not get along on set. And they got into such a huge argument. Ben Stiller said, "Please let me quit. Please let me quit." And they said no.
Wow. But the positive energy that they turned that into on screen obviously paid off, right? I mean, that was really, but that's the thing, right? Like, okay, any movie like this is going to be a collection of giant egos clashing with each other. Given any movie is a difficult logistical thing. Anything that you do is going to be fraught with personalities, budget, all of that type of stuff. Now, I'm not saying let's play who do you blame sort of thing, but is it simply that Usher was hands down the wrong type of person to bring in for this as his first project, because they would have needed somebody that knows how to deal with these egos and make it work. So in a sense, I'm reminded of Fincher getting pushed around on the set of Alien 3 and being miserable and hating it because it was egos and it was studio and it was all of this stuff. And he had just elevated from the music video world.
Right.
And and we all consider Alien 3 to be a warning tale of what can happen, to a director's first time. So is it just that Usher was just not the right pick, period? Because what was it? Danny DeVito was the first one, and then they offered it to Stiller himself to direct.
And Stiller turned it down once he realized how much budget he would be working with.
It's weird. That's just weird to me.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, who is the protagonist of this story? Because I would almost say it's William H. Macy. He at least was my favorite character in this movie. Because I know it's supposed to be Ben Stiller. I know that. He's the one that goes to the Ark. He's the one that, gets the girl. But the way Ben Stiller's playing it, of this guy with no powers that's just angry, I don't know if it works.
It doesn't.
Well, it doesn't work, and that's the problem. Is that Ben Stiller is the protagonist. Should he be the protagonist? No. The way that it's formatted, it should be William H. Macy, or they should draw on the trio.
It is the kind of the trio, more. Yeah.
But that's the thing. They should, in order to really draw on the trio a lot more, they should have ditched the pseudo romantic storyline. You could tell that they were just padding the runtime. And I think I read that Claire Forlani's character was much more involved in the first draft of the script, where she actually she helped the mystery men catch Casanova Frankenstein. And so this version of the script just had this leftover bit for her to play. And when you get to the end of the film, you're just like, how did she get to the castle? How did she get there? In what time was she captured? And how would they even know to capture her? It was just nonsense on that front. Even though Claire Forlani is one of the most beautiful creatures God has ever created, it still doesn't justify the reason why she's in the movie. So if you remove that, then you could focus more on the trio and not have this half-hearted arc.
But see, I completely agree. It should be the trio, and I think that there is some sort of attempt to get the trio. But to go to one of the greatest screen trios of all time, Kirk, Spock, and Bones, you need that chemistry to carry the story forward. And I don't know going into this that everybody hated each other's guts, and Wes Studi is letting the air out of Janine Garofalo's tires, and she's pouring rat poison in somebody else's coffee, and I don't know any of that stuff coming into it, but you can definitely tell that these are just people there for work, and they don't actually give a good gosh darn about, and just get through the take, get through the take, get the paycheck, go on to the next project.
Well, and you never feel like, oh yeah, I can tell that these three, they've actually been friends for a long while, and now they're expanding the team. Honestly, they could have met each other 2 weeks ago. Right. As much chemistry as we get from them.
Yes.
It's true. There's no sense of history. I didn't realize that until you said that just now, but there is no sense of history whatsoever. And I think they're trying, it was weird because it's like they were trying to say that Ben Stiller was the leader of the group because he kept trying to make the decisions, but no one was listening to him. But then you have William H. Macy's character, the Shoveler, stand up and take control.
He's way more the leader than Ben Stiller's character.
Mm-hmm. But then he concedes leadership to the Sphinx, and he says, he's like, that's what we've been lacking, leadership. And then the camera cuts to Stiller, and that's supposed to be a dig on Stiller. But yet it doesn't mesh. It doesn't make sense. If anything, William H. Macy should have been the leader, the failing leader. But then Wes Studi, the Sphinx's character, gives him the confidence that he needs to be the leader, and Stiller just is furious and leaves and comes back because he can't handle his own emotions. Something like that. That makes more sense than what we got.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think it would have been interesting because they were always losers. They were always not good at their job, and maybe it would have been better if they were really good at the small time. We got a guard duty protecting the docks, and it's good pay, but we really want to be the A-list crime mm-hmm. fighters, but they're really good at protecting those docks. But they want to break out of that tier. That would have been way more interesting because these characters have never been good. So give them somewhere to launch from. And this mm-hmm. is and William H. Macy is the good leader of that group, but he's I can't take us to the next level. I'm just a shoveler, and then that's why he defaults to the Sphinx of you could, we're going to have a bigger group and we're going to go after Casanova and it's all going to come together. But that's not the movie we got. So,
all right. So
I love that idea.
I do too. But it spurs this question. We're all sitting here. We're pinging at it. I'm curious from the two of you. I mean, Darren, you said there are a lot of lines you can quote. There are a lot of bits that are cute and funny and everything. Is it just that? Is it just the little moments that work? Because it's valid enough.
It's a bunch of gags and strung together, and It's and it's very, I mean, reading on Wikipedia and stuff where they're like, yeah, there were massive rewrites during this film. And I'm like, you don't say, because it really feels like it. It feels like a lot of people were given a lot of rope, and a lot of people were given a lot of like, well, just say anything. Like the entire improv thing is improv. Like when the people are casting call or auditioning for joining the group, like that's literally throwing stuff at the wall to see if anything sticks. And it's probably the lowest point on that regard.
And so apparently like Dane Cook's cameo as the waffler.
Yeah.
Like the story goes is that he shows up, he was going to audition to be the waffler, and he asked what he was supposed to wear. And they're like, just wear whatever. And so he shows up with a waffle iron and with a shirt that had the waffle pattern on it. And he does that whole shtick of being the waffler and like burning his face and everything like that. And Ben Stiller says, "What are you doing, you schmuck? You're supposed to be the waffler, someone who waffles back and forth, someone who can't make a decision." But they kept it the way that Dane Cook interpreted it.
I give him credit because that it's an original take on everything.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And we also get Doug Jones as Pencilhead.
That's right.
Yes.
And Son and Junior.
Son, even though his like he introduces himself as Pencilhead, but it says PM. Says PM as Pencil Man.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, that's the thing, is that I think this is a studio that had no faith in its director and a director that had no faith in the product.
Or himself. I mean, like, he clearly couldn't handle those actors. I feel like if this was a small indie film, then
too many
would have
big
done
names.
Fine. Too many big names,
no
too much budget. It's a sci-fi effects film. He shouldn't have been given that.
I think you instead put your finger on it, is that this film winds up working a lot better if instead of this all-star cast, you have one star either in the lead of the Mystery Men, or your star cameos are just Captain Amazing and Casanova. Those are your star cameos, and then everybody else is an unknown.
Yeah. It's the Muppet principle. Who's your human? Your human is Casanova and Captain Amazing. Everyone else is a Muppet, and has to be no name, no nothing, or low enough. Like not Ben Stiller, not William H. Macy, not not these. Not that they're not good actors. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, they're all just too big for it, I guess. And honestly, as a lifelong Simpsons fan, up to a certain point. It's heartbreaking to me that Hank Azaria never really, he's the one of that voice cast that, aside from Harry Shearer, that really had the shot at being the go-to character actor guy. Like the other actors and actresses that do the voices for The Simpsons wound up sort of trapped in that bubble, and Hank Azaria just almost made it out of orbit so many times in the 90s. And he just wound up circling instead of ever escaping, just always being that voice on the show. And I think he's a terrific talent. I think they're all terrific talents. But Hank Azaria, it was the one that I
don't think you're
just
giving
saw.
Hank Azaria's career enough credit.
Okay, explain.
Well, I think when I think Hank Azaria, I don't actually think The Simpsons.
Okay.
I think all of the bit parts that I've seen him in over the past 3 decades.
Okay.
I really do. Like, I think about him in Great Expectations. I think about him in The Birdcage. I think about him in Heat. I think about him all over the place. I think about him all over the place. I very rarely think about him in The Simpsons.
See, I don't. I see his. I'm not saying he's a bad actor, and I'm not saying he's had a bad career. I'm just saying, like, it's almost like I'm just saying he never took it to that step that I thought he could get to.
Well, that I can understand. It's kind of like Cary Elwes, where like he can never escape The Princess Bride, but yet he's had a pretty good career. Although with Hank Azaria in this movie, I love it's such a meta joke of where he pretends to be an Indian man, but he has an English accent but his normal accent is just Hank Azaria, which
Right.
Playing a poo, being an Indian man, but he's just Hank Azaria in real life. I love that. That's a little Simpsons joke right then and there.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just, I almost feel like this movie had too much build for me over the years, because it sort of nestled in my brain as like, okay, this is an in-joke one. This is one where when I finally see it, I'm going to be transported back to that time of the 90s, and I'm going to feel like, oh yeah, this is how things were. But like, I don't know, it just doesn't. It obviously, I think, just doesn't fire on all cylinders by any stretch, and it's just.
I'm surprised this movie has been built up to you, because for me, like when I was thinking about when I pitched this, and Darren's just like, "Oh, total guilty pleasure," I was like, "Yeah, we need a stupid movie." Like I never once thought like, "Oh yes, this is the epitome of 1999."
But
it's not.
Well, I'm talking about that mid to late 90s sort of vibe. That's that's a pretty decided feel to the culture at the time and everything like that. And by built up, I mean that this has been built up as that cult hit, as like,
okay,
oh yeah, you're really going to dig it when you finally see it, sort of thing. And I think that might have been what kept me away from it for so many years, was like, oh, like as you get more and more distance, you're like, oh, like, is it really gonna work? Is that spark gonna happen when I see this sort of thing?
Well, I think one thing for me is watching it now that I'm older, more seasoned, as I like to say, Darren.
It's a terrible thing to say to a man.
One thing that really got to me was like, I love the scene where they attack Casanova's car. They beat it up, and like he hits it with a shovel. She throws a bowling ball through the windows. The fork locks the door, and Furious is on top, just banging his feet. And then, like right before they leave, Hank Azaria comes up with his forks and just starts scratching the paint job as much as he can. And I was just like, I remember loving that scene and thinking it's hilarious. But then now that I'm older, I'm looking at the story structure and I'm like, what did they accomplish there?
Yeah, what did they right away like, yeah, it's a win for us. It's like,
they're like,
is it?
Like, clinking beers and like having celebratory dinner and saying like, we did it. And I'm like, what did you do? Like, even though you have funny bits all throughout the movie, although you have really funny one-liners here and there, the story structure still needs to make sense with tease and reward and cost and gain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, I go back. Let's go back to Brooks with Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles. Those are movies with just gags put together, but there is, in fact, a progression to the story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that's
a really good comparison. This is not a Brooks film, but it has all the pieces of that kind of a film. It just doesn't work because, yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's a very, very good comparison, because one thing that I felt was really lacking was a sense of time and sense of urgency, because like there was a ticking time bomb to when Casanova was going to do this and when he was going to kill Captain Amazing. But at the same time, like the mystery men would, went on their wilderness retreat with Sphinx. They started making their costumes.
Made new costumes, yeah.
And then they went and destroyed his car and then had a victory dinner. But then, Furious had time to go and cry to Claire Forlani and then come back. And you're just like, how much time is going by? Like, what? Like, I thought it said, like, oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow night. I'm going to destroy Champion City tomorrow night. But yet it feels like a week has passed in between. It was structured very poorly in that sense.
Well, and thinking back to what John said about the Mel Brooks comparison, because Mel Brooks movies are spoofing like a genre, Spaceballs, obviously, is like Star Wars, and like Blazing Saddles, like the Western. It's like, yeah, if this had tried to been like the problem is there weren't, I mean, not like we have now, but like there weren't comic book movies to spoof yet. That wasn't an established genre in 99 to the level it is now. So yeah, you don't get, you're doing this slapstick comedy, but it is not, there's nothing to spoof and to lean into the, I mean, they're trying to do it. Like, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the main hero has, sponsor logos all over him? Wouldn't that be funny? It's like, but it doesn't, it's like, yeah, it's like a half-second chuckle, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what a waste of Lena Olin. She has 2 lines at the beginning, and then we never hear her voice again.
That is a true waste. I'm curious. I don't know if there's any edition that's ever been released that there was a different ending originally that tested poorly, and they changed it. But I haven't seen what exactly that was supposed to have been.
Yes, I think I read about an alternate take. I cannot remember what happened.
I know that they added the, probably they might have just tacked on the new ending where they walk out and like they have the little news report and then they start playing All Star in the background. And the whole joke is like, that we don't know our name and that, which is, it's a funny gag, but like it's an interesting ending.
The only thing that I've read about an alternate ending was that they showed them using Dr. Heller's can tornado to destroy the machine. And it even says that some of the can tornado's visual effects can be seen as they're fleeing the disco room. But that's pretty much it. That's all that I can find right now.
So is it like they they destroy it and then it's like movie over? Like there's no.
I don't know if they don't have any falling action or denouement or anything like that. I think that's just how they instead of using the bowling ball, they use the can tornado, which makes sense because they
played it showcase, up when they got it.
They played it up. They're just like, oh, boom. It's like with Q, like when you in a Bond film, like when you go to Q and Q shows you all the gadgets that Bond can use, that Bond is going to use them.
Right.
You just have to guess on how he's going to use them and when he's going to use them.
Although I did like using the dad and kind of like closing that character's arc. Like that wasn't
I like
a bad
that way more
ending.
than the tornado. Yeah, I like that.
I thought they could have done both where he destroys it and then they like throw the tornado to like contain the explosion so they can get away, because I almost thought they were going to do that as it started to erupt out.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
That also would have been interesting.
23 years later, such hindsight.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we've talked about this movie enough. I think I would love to hear. I'm going to go with Darren first. Darren, you're the one who described this as a guilty pleasure. How many forks are you giving this?
No
film?
Knives. That would make too much sense.
No spoons, just forks.
Spoons are okay, just not actual things that would hurt people, apparently. But yeah, gosh, I'll give it a 2. It's just we've said it enough. It's I'm packing in the background movie. If it's on TV and you happen to channel surf across it, as much as that is still a thing, maybe, I don't know, you might still watch it. I'd want to give it more because of that guilty pleasure, but the fact that I don't even own this movie, like I never got around to buying the DVD of it or anything like that. I would just have to rent it if I really, really wanted to watch it. Like and it has been a little while since I have watched it recently, and it was still just as enjoyable. I nostalgically felt the connection to, I really enjoy William H. Macy. I really enjoy a lot of the funniness. All these actors or many of them are like, Ben Stiller's huge now. Like their careers have grown and changed since then. But at the end of the day, it's this weird movie. Like I wouldn't even say it's a cult classic. It's more just, just what it became. Yeah. I'm not surprised by anything. I'm not surprised by how poorly it did on its budget. I'm not surprised by, how much extra writing was happening behind the scenes. I'm not surprised to hear that the actors all hated each other and fought all the time. Like nothing you guys have thrown at me has surprised me, because it's written all over the product of this movie. But you know what? It's still a fun movie. Is it great? No. It's two Blue Raja forks for me.
All right, John. How many shovels worth of dirt are you heaping upon this rating?
I don't want to be as hard. Like this is the type of thing where, I'll be honest, I fell asleep at one point watching this movie. Granted, I was a little bit tired, but falling asleep during a comedy is a very bad sign, so far as I'm concerned. I considered a lot of the jokes just tired before, like I could see them coming from a mile away, and I was like, ah. And the whole Ben Stiller has a note that he hits, and when he hits that note in something like Zoolander, I will hear him play that note for the whole duration, as dumb as the movie might be. I think that there are plenty of things that I'll quote from this movie that I'm like, oh, that's a cute thing, right? But ultimately, I'm going to come in a little bit under Darren here and give it 1.5 canned tornadoes out of 5.
This is a film that doesn't need to be good. It doesn't need to be great in order to be enjoyable. Kind of like Keanu Reeves. And I feel like...
Why? Hey, now.
I love Keanu Reeves. I will watch anything that has Keanu Reeves in it, but he is not a good actor.
Now I want to picture Keanu Reeves as the Sphinx. Like, you barely see his face. You almost can't even tell who he is.
Yeah, I could see it. It works.
That would work. That would 100% work.
And he's just spouting like one-liners and quotes the entire time.
Yeah. Nope, that would make sense.
I do not think this is a bad film. I think this is a mediocre film. I think this is a film where a lot doesn't work. And I can't really say, like, normally when you say, oh, well, a lot doesn't work, but a lot does work. No, a lot doesn't work. And that's where I'm going to end that sentence. But there's so many great moments that overcome when it doesn't work. Like, one thing that I think is kind of a microcosm of this film and why I find it funny is when the Spleen and Invisible Boy are out in the bushes, and then a random skunk comes up to them and starts humping his leg. That's not funny. It's not funny. It's boring. It's tired. It's lazy. But yet, all of a sudden, Invisible Boy says, you know what? He looks up into the sky. Just go with it. Just go with it. He starts just like rocking back and forth. And then we get that wide shot of them in the silhouette of the moon. And then this music starts to raise up. That's hilarious. Like, that's the movie, is that it starts with this stupid ass, ridiculous premise that shouldn't work. But then it lands the joke and you laugh. But yet, it doesn't make it a good movie.
You're not happy about laughing. But
You're not happy about laughing, but you laugh. That's Mystery Men in 1999. So I'm giving it a 2.5. I mean, this isn't like far and away above anything that you guys have said. Darren, I know you don't give half stars, and John, I mean, you clearly didn't get this at the right time, like in your life or when it came out like we did. So I totally understand and respect your guys' ratings. I mean, to give this anything above a 3 would be disingenuous, I think, unless you absolutely, like, it just clicked with you in a way that I don't understand. So we have a 2.5, a 2, and on 1.5. So none of us are really off the board or off the mark. Like, no one's given this a 4.5 or a 5 stars. But so just as we opened the room of Kinka Usher, we are now closing it and moving on to something else, something bigger, something better. And that is the House of Man.
Yes.
Specifically.
Yes.
We're
finally there.
We are finally here. And next week, we're going to be talking about Michael Mann's no words can describe
I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you. Anybody comes at this with less than my rating, I will get on the plane. I will fly out and I will talk to you personally. That's all I got to say.
Note to self, to get John to visit me, all I have to do is give it a low rating.
Yes, indeed.
You know what? That's a great idea. Save on some airfare.
You would
have him
not
come
be
to
able
you.
to live with yourselves, and you know it.
So next week, we're talking about the last of the Mohicans.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.